What's the main difference between Matchroom Boxing and Queensbury? So you got Frank Warren on one side and you got Eddie Hearn the other
Yeah.
side. Like, is there certain things that come in the air when you're thinking, I want to go towards this company more than the other?
Well, I don't have much experience with Frank Warren, and I still regard Frank Warren as a legend, a Hall of Fame promoter. Promoted some of the best fighters in the world, and to still be around in the game now, in a world like boxing, he's got to be well respected. But the one thing I can say, and I have noticed, is the production of the shows at Matchroom are second to none. Mm-hmm. When I go to some Queensbury shows, I do think, wow, Matchroom really do put on a show. Even when I go to Sky shows, Matchroom are the kings at putting on a production, you know. And all I'm going to say on that matter is that they're number one with that.
And that's what you want to be a part of as well.
Yeah, you want to be a part of good nights and big nights and delivers the best for the fans. Mm-hmm. The security are the best. They always make sure there's no trouble. If there is trouble, it's dealt with straight away. Everyone's catered for. And, everything gets sorted from the ticket lady, Bella Gay, who's her name's Bella. She's a lovely lady, and she gets everything done, deals a lot with my dad doing with the tickets. Alex, who sorts out all the hotels and all the logistics for things, and Darren Fleurs, who does all that with the taxes and making sure everything runs smoothly. You're always looked after at Matchroom, and it's a great company, and they give you the best platform for you to perform.
It's brilliant. What about in terms of the fight you had with Armstrong?
Yeah.
That was for a title fight?
My first title fight, the Southern Area title fight. The first time the Southern Area has been fought for since 2018, when Daniel Dubois fought, what's his name? He fought another up-and-coming guy at the time. And so it's good to give some activity to that belt again, you know. Mm-hmm. It was the belt had been made in its own way, a new style of belt, so it was nice to win that first initial style of belt, you know. And it's a respected title within the boxing circles, because there's some hard fights that have been happening for the Southern Area.
So talk to me about Harry Armstrong. He had a 5-1 record. And it was for the Southern Area Championship.
Yeah, the Southern Area Championship in the boxing world and boxing circles, a very, very well-respected belt to win. There's been some great fights down the line. I remember the last person to fight for the Southern Area heavyweight title was Daniel Dubois, who's obviously going on to do massive things. He won that emphatically, and it was a tough fight. It lived up to the bill with Harry Armstrong, very tough man. Obviously knocked him down in the first 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And from there, he was really tough, and I had to regather myself a little bit, think I've got to box him a bit more, break him up a little bit more, and we eventually knocked him out in the 7th round.
Yeah, so what happens, like, when you knock somebody out in the, knock somebody down in the first 20 seconds of a fight, he goes down, your confidence is up. Then you go in round 2, bosh. You gave him a good hiding, good beating, and then all of a sudden he doesn't go down. Like, he perseveres. What does that do to you mentally?
You have to regather your thoughts. You have to think, right, I've trained hard enough. I know what I've got to do now. He hasn't gone. You got to, because if I went out for the 3rd round like I did for the first 2, it doesn't matter how fit you are. If you're going at sprinting at 100 miles an hour, you can't sustain that. So I thought, just box behind the jab. I was still winning the rounds, and get him when the time comes. And that round 7 belt, when the bell and the ring cards went up for round 7, I thought, right, there's only 4 rounds to go now. I can unload a little bit more. I've conserved my energy well. He'd be feeling the pace as well. I was trying to draw him onto things, draw him on, and then the right hand over the top came, and it was a great shot, because Harry Armstrong's a tough man. He give a lot of people tough fights. He's had lots and lots of amateur fights. I think he boxed for England at one point, so he was really confident going into that fight, because he thought he had more pedigree than me. But we dealt with him and convincingly beat him.
What made you go down that route of Southern Area champion?
It's old school, it's traditional. Mm-hmm. And where I've not had the pedigree as an amateur, I only had 10 amateur fights. Not that means too much, I don't think, because you can be a fantastic amateur. You still got to start again when you turn professional. It's a different sport. But it's a traditional belt to win. I'd love to do the traditional route, Southern Area, English, British, Commonwealth. And it just made perfect sense at the time to have a title fight of that sort and get a bit of legitimacy in my career. So people who did think I'm just a ticket seller, that's all I am. I've won a professional belt here that other people would like to have.
How important is confidence in terms of a press conference? So it is all about selling tickets. Let's be honest, it's an arena.
It's a show. Boxing is a show, and you want to entertain people.
So how much of that show do you bring? Because you know Tyson Fury is always selling a show
He is.
out. He can do it single-handedly sometime. You know, how much of a showman are you? Do you like getting on the mic? Do you like trash talking? Like, what's
No.
your style?
I'm not a trash talker, but what I think people like to buy into is someone who's authentic and trying to be themselves. And that doesn't mean be boring and say nothing and just fight and don't engage with people. It's about engaging with people, but not being fake, not being false, letting people know your personality. People are interested, obviously, because I'm exciting to watch, but you want to engage people as much as you can. So it's not just the press conferences; it's like doing things at the brewery and getting people to who want to come and meet you, going to see them, and giving every fan a T-shirt when they come to a fight. You know, it's all little things like that, making a whole day of it for people. That's what sells as well, and making sure people get good value for their money, because it's a lot in this economic climate for people to spend 60, 100, 250, 500 pounds sometimes for a ticket if they want ringside. So you've got to make sure it's worth it for people the whole day.
Absolutely. You've got a nickname, the Romford Bull.
Yes.
Where did that come from?
I was sparring in Vegas, and one of the coaches, I can't remember exactly, he said, "You fight like a bull, man. You fight like a bull. Where are you from?" And I said, "I'm from Romford." He said, "You should be called the Romford Bull." And it just stuck from there. Because I was aggressive, even more so back in the day when I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just going in there and giving it a good go for 3-4 rounds. So I always have that bullish style, you know, and it's a good name, and it's become a sticking point, you know.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Because you've got Romford in it, and that's
Romford.
where we're from. Yes,
Romford in the roots.
Okay, so let's talk about Emilio Salas.
Yeah.
He had a 7-win to 4 losses streak.
Yeah.
Left hook first round.
Yeah, that fight, I could sense he was not going to be much cop when I first went in there, because we was really expecting a tricky southpaw. We thought, let's get a southpaw under the belt, because we haven't fought one. He was a Golden Gloves champion back in America in his amateur days, so he's had great pedigree. But I think in the build up to the fight, I could sense a bit of fear within him, and I just don't think he fancied it when we got in the ring.
Where's that intuition of sensing that fear come from?
Not making eye contact when we're in the face off,
So
bit twitchiness in the eyes.
Is eye contact really important?
Shakiness in the body. I think you can sense a lot from that. I remember I walked out, always look at the venue before I fight when I get there. Okay. He was there as well, and he was nervous. I could sense it, and I think even with that cuffing shot on the left hook around the side, it weren't a clean shot, but you could still feel the power, and I don't think he fancied it too much, so that was disappointing. So we went straight from that fight. A week later, announced we were on the fighting Harry Armstrong on the AJ undercard for the southern area. So you quickly move on, you know. But I was expecting a tough test, an awkward test with a southpaw. Mm-hmm. Eddie Hearn came in the change room before and said he's not going to be easy. Yeah. He's going to give you some rounds to think about. Don't rush in. But that's the way it goes, I guess.
What are the dangers of facing a southpaw in the heavyweight division?
Obviously, your jabs clash a lot, because you're both, my jab's here, his jab's here. The backhand is comes into play a lot more, and that's obviously your power shot. So you've got to be careful. It's very, very easy to land your backhand. So it's a danger for them, but also a danger for yourself.
How often do you have to spar to be ready for southpaws?
It's more so you do it. I actually sparred a southpaw yesterday for a couple of rounds, but it's more so in your training camp. If you're sparring a southpaw, you want to be sparring. If you're fighting a southpaw, you want to be sparring the southpaws all for your camp for 8 weeks, you know. So
when you're in camp, do you try to get a sparring partner which mimics your opponent?
Yeah, as much as you can. It's also good to get people who are going to give you good intense work to get your fitness levels up. But if you're fighting someone who's tall and long, you want to get tall and long sparring in. Someone who's more of a boxer than a fighter, you want to get people with more boxing skills. So you get the correct sparring in, because you just get into good habits of preparing for that guy. You need a blueprint, and to work on that blueprint, you need someone who's going to mimic what you're going to get in the fight.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Michael, is it Passenger?
Michael Reisinger. From the Czech Republic as well.
Old spelling mistake.
He was a tough man, a proud man, a football hooligan, I think, of some sort in Czech Republic.
Round 2 just starts. Big overhand.
Yeah, I caught him at the end of the first round as well with a right hand as he came in. He used to box on the Czech Republic Muay Thai national team, so proud man. And he was gutted afterwards, because he's a proud, tough man. And that was good, because that was just after I broke my hand in that fight, on my 5th fight, when it went to points. So it was good to come through that psychologically and get a really crisp, clean knockout.
When you have an injury, like break your hand, is it the same when it's repaired and fixed?
It's stronger now. So you see these 2 knuckles, they're a lot bigger. these ones than them two. The scar tissue has actually made it more dense and stronger. So you have to look after your hands because they do get damaged, they do break. So warming them up before and after, like any muscle, is important. Cryotherapy work on them as well. So you have to look after your hands.
Cryotherapy?
It's a cold treatment, and I can get a spray on it, and that's what I like. Prefer local cryotherapy to the actual chambers. I think an ice bath is better than a chamber.
Really?
And it just penetrates deep below the skin, gets rid of inflammation. So if you've had a hard spar or been hitting the pads very hard, just a little bit of spray on that for 5 minutes will get that inflammation down quicker and allow it to heal quicker.